Okay, back that down. Let's swap out the texture, I think. You might be quite interesting. Just for a bit more variety. Okay. Let's move the model. I've only got 3 more stairs left, so let's try this one. See, this is an interesting texture, but it might be okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's not too bad. It should be okay for what we want. Move it up a little bit to get a little bit more variety. Now we'll move it down. And back up a bit. And we'll finish it at the end like that. And we'll pick another texture. You should be alright. I'm just going to scale it down a little bit. Let's scale it down a bit more actually. Get a bit more black and a little bit less white in there. Bake that down, move the model. Bake it down, might just do a quick save. Okay. You there, bake it down, and you on the end, bake that down. And the last step, we might go for the same texture because the last step is actually right on the base of the terrace itself, which is going to be like tiled, so I don't want it to look like anything's been running really down the step at the very bottom. We'll bake that down, move the model. Bake it down, move the model, Break it down. Break that down. And bake that down. Okay. Let's zoom out a little bit and get a bit of better look at the whole model. All right, let's play with our blending modes now. Yeah, if you didn't want to make it look, this is what I meant by making it look like something's been growing on the step, and as opposed to dirtying up the step. We can knock this right back. And it just gives it a bit more of an interest, a bit more variety through the front of the stairs. I'm just going to turn off the masking for a minute so I can get a better look at what I'm doing. Okay. Looking at the top of the stair here, I'm wondering if I should introduce a little bit more variety. Maybe. Let's have a look. Let's go like this. We're going to put edge masking back on and go back to our images. Going to add another layer. And what do you like? Scale it up a little bit. Maybe. More at the base or at the top? Probably at the base. And then like that. Move that out of the way. Maybe a bit more. Like that. Bake that down. Throw in another layer. Let's rotate this around the other way. And scale it down a little. Okay. Let's just bake it down. Move it out of the way. This is the great thing about working with layers. You can, and the opacity slider here, you can dial in exactly how much or how little you want to add some interest to the basic texture. That's not too bad. What we can do is rotate the texture around and maybe throw a bit in here like this. Just a little bit, just to break it up a little and make it a little bit more unique looking. Break that down. Let's see now. All right, let's have a look. Might just save that to be on the safe side. Let's throw one more layer down. And let's see what we get with this. Bake that down. Just paint out that line right there. And bake it down. And move that texture out of the way. Just want to throw a bit more interest through the middle of the step there, but I don't want it to be too overpowering. Maybe something like that. No, not that one. Might be better. Make it dark as opposed to light. Give it a bit more interest through the middle of the step. Anyway, let's save this. And let's export flattened. If you wanted, you could export each individual layer separately and combine them in Photoshop that way, but there's no need when you can do it all in Mari anyway. Go to F, stairs. I'll save it as Targa. I'm going to name it myself instead of letting it auto-name it, so call it Painted Steps. TGA, export everything. Okay, make sure we've done a save on that. Alright, we'll open up Photoshop. We'll open up the original steps texture, which was this one. And we'll open up the texture we've just painted up in Mari, which is this one. Copy that into here, and we'll play with the blending modes. We might do a duplicate layer, I think, and change the levels a little bit. Alright, we're going to do a save as. We're going to save it as a target file again. We called the last one stairs diff, so we'll call this one steps diff. 24 bits is fine. Let's go back into Max, back into the material editor, and this is our steps here. Let's change that to steps diff. Okay, now off the bat, I'm noticing this is way too dark. So what we can do is, because we still have Photoshop open, it's simple to change. We'll do that right now. That was the original. This one, way too dark. We could lighten it up that way, but then we'll lose details. So I think it would be better to actually do it via levels. Something like that. Saving it as a target. Steps. Yes, we want to replace. 24 bit is fine. Oh, it's better. Did I lose some detail though? Not sure. I might save out a separate one and we'll have a look. I'll save this one out as a target in steps 2. That way we can compare them. Alright, open up the material editor again. Pop our stairs just over there. Go with steps 2. You know, I think I like a mixture of the both of them. So what I'm going to do is go back into Photoshop. We'll close that down. We're going to open up steps and steps 2. We're going to copy steps on top of steps 2. Don't think I'm going to do a blend on them. No, I'm not going to do a blend though. I'm going to might use the eraser, I think. It's a really large brush to lighten up a few spots here and there. I have my flow set at 100 and my opacity at 40, so it won't take everything out completely, as you can see here. It just takes out bits and pieces. So let's save this as steps 3. I'm going to save it as a tagger. Steps 3. Diff. And we want to change the material in the material editor to number 3. Okay, that's a bit better. Not quite as light, not quite as dark. Let's see what that looks like in the overall model. Let me just do a save on max to be on the safe side. Maybe a bit dark, but I think what I'll do is I won't alter the colors. I'm thinking this, the centerpiece here is a bit, the stairs are a little dark overall, but I'll wait until I've textured up these sides here before I start messing with the levels. So why don't we do that? Let's select these pieces here. Okay. I've noticed a bit of an error here, so let's fix that up. I want to edit poly. Go to points. So let's select you and move you down like that. And same with you. Vertex, move you down like that. All right, now I know which texture I want for these because it's going to be the same as the base of the terrace itself, and that's that sandstone texture. So that is this one here. Now that angle is completely wrong, so you want to do an unwrap. Open the UV editor. And we want to select all. Do a flatten mapping. And we want to rotate the UVs. Come on. Until the sandstone texture in the viewport is horizontal, like that. Maybe a little bit less. I'm going to turn off angle snaps so I got a bit more control over what I'm doing. I usually always leave it on, but sometimes it's handy just to switch it off. Select, scale that in so it's all within the UV space. Okay. I want to copy that. Select this piece, material editor, and assign the material to the object. And now I want to paste, and I can paste that on because they're both identical. They're the same polygons, so same UVs. If they weren't identical, I couldn't copy and paste it like that. All right, now let's see, what are we moving on to now? Let's have a look at these. Open the material editor. Again, these are just going to be a base texture. I will take these into Mari like I did the steps and paint over them. I just don't know if they're a bit light. They may be okay. I might just organize my textures here a little bit better. The ones that I know are not going to be changing too much, I always place here. Like they're the angel statues and the wrought iron textures there. I know they're not going to change, so I will put them over here so I won't accidentally change them. I didn't mean to. And I'm just going to pop these over here because I'm still working with these. This one probably won't change. It won't change, but it will change when I paint it in Mari. So I'll leave it on this side. It's not one of the ones that I've decided is painted on and won't change. So pull you in a little bit. Hasten out. I'm making a garden terrace at the moment, so I'll show you exactly what it is. If you've been on for a little while, you may have seen it. So it's a terrace that's placed out in a courtyard or in a garden, surrounded by trees. I'm still not sure whether I'm going to put a type of circular roof over this part here with some columns. I may do that or I may not. I'll see how I go once it starts to be textured up a bit more. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. We've just been doing some texturing work in Mari and in Photoshop. So I'm just going to decide on the colors, the base colors for these before I paint over them. just not quite sure. I guess that colour's not too bad. Similar to what's being used on the Angel as far as the colour palette goes. Might be okay. We'll see. Let's assign it to this box as well. And to you. And to you. And to you. Map. Okay. Open the material editor, assign the material, and then paste UV in. Yeah, maybe. Just going to throw a very bright texture on this so I can get a better idea of how things are going to be laying out. might be good as a base texture. To be painted on top of again. So if I paint, darken up the edges there, darken up the top and the ones on the end, I can use a grey for the columns and then a brown for the balusters. I'm just trying to work out a colour scheme that I want to go with, an overall colour scheme. And I want to tile the base and tile the center piece just here. Yeah, I think that'd be good. So if I do a plain colored tile here, do a intricate mosaic pattern here, do a plain colour tile here, do a grey along the edges here and on the columns here. So grey along those edges, grey along the columns, a brown on the banisters here. And then a grey here on these decorative columns. That should be alright. So we're going to go with white, mosaic in the very centre, a grey, I'll dirty it up a lot in Mari, a grey, a dirty brown, and probably a marble white for the actual columns, small columns in here. Yeah, I think that would be good. And then if I do go with a some sort of circular roof section over this, I might make it glass. Maybe a half dome glass. Open at the top, maybe. We'll see how that goes. Well, Max hasn't crashed on us, which is good. I'll just save out to make sure. Don't tempt fate. I know a lot of you guys were having problems with OBS crashing your whole system, like that was happening to me yesterday as well when I was running 3D Studio Max, and OBS kept crashing out the stream, crashing my machine, requiring a complete reboot. I fixed it by changing the viewport in 3D Studio Max. I'll show you, and whatever I've done seems to have fixed it. It hasn't crashed at all today. So if you stream a 3D program, particularly 3D Studio Max, and your computer is locking up or crashing with OBS running, go into your Customize, Preferences, Viewports, and choose driver. Now I did have it on DirectX 11, Nitrous DirectX 11, which is recommended. and for best performance, that's usually where you want to have it. But because of the problems with Windows 10 anniversary update, OBS, and everything else, switch it to Nitrous Direct 3D 9 instead of 11, and you should be fine. I haven't had any lockups or any problems at all since I've switched it over. So yeah, if you stream and you use OBS and you're crashing, change your 3D renderer to DirectX 9 instead of DirectX 11. It'll help. Well, it should help. Mari didn't crash out at all because I think Mari uses OpenGL from memory. I might close Mari down just to free up some memory. Yes, close Mari. Okay. Mari's still deciding to close down, so that's all right. It uses a lot of hard drive space, so it takes it a while to work out what it's doing. Okay. Remember, guys, if you've got any questions for me, anything you're not sure about or you want some help with, pop into the chat. I'm more than happy to help. I think I'm probably going to have to end up lightening up the levels on the stairs a bit, the tops of the stairs and the front of the stairs. I think they're just a little dark. I do want to wait though, like I said, until I've started painting up the sides a bit more and the banister, until I start painting up these side pieces here and the top rails and the ends. Once I get those painted up, then I can start balancing the levels on the entire step properly. But just looking at it, I'm thinking it's a little bit dark, so I probably will end up lightening it up just a little bit. I might throw some of the brown out of the front of the step as well. Might throw it back into a bit more of a green. Yeah, I may end up doing that. All right. Like I said, when I'm designing a model, I block everything out first in 3D Studio Max, just in using simple shapes, simple colors. As you can see here, I just choose separate colors for the different specific objects just to keep it easier in my mind as to what needs to be textured differently. Yeah, so just playing around with shapes in 3D Studio Max to get an overall idea of what you want the model to look like, and then once you've done that, it makes it much easier to add any smaller details to the model, text to the model itself, because you've got everything laid out complete. You're not creating a small part, texturing that small part, and then creating more to put around your model. You've got your complete model blocked out, plain colors, simple shapes, So then it's much easier for you to get your head around what textures you want for what, how one texture is going to relate to another one, how the whole thing's going to look overall once it's done. It just makes life much easier. Alright. And that's the way I work with all of the stuff that I've created, all the stuff on my Creative Market store and Cornucopia store. All of my 3D models are done that way. And if you haven't checked out my work, you can head on over to my webpage, which is a link is at the bottom of my Twitch. Oh, that's a guy from yesterday who's showing me his work. So if you've got some work that you want me to have a look at, feel free to send me a link. You can send it to my email address, PhilDoes3D@philipbear.com, or you can go to philipbear.com and check out some of my previous work. Yeah, you can get my models from the Creative Market or from Eon View. Let's show you some of my old work. This is just some stuff I've worked on in the past. Like I said, all of my models I do the same way. I start by blocking them out in basic shapes and no textures. Then I gradually texture them up. So yeah, check it out. Anyway, guys, I think I might call it a day for today. I stream weekdays from 5 p.m. Pacific time in the US. So I'll be back on again tomorrow. Hope to see you guys there. Thanks a lot. See you guys.